All right, so welcome back into the live stream. Today, we're going to be jumping into the NFT market. Take a look at some of the indicators that are really kind of leaning into where not only NFTs could be, but also I think a lot of what we'll see in blockchain and smart contract growth, especially in 2022. It's going to be an interesting field of information. I think you guys are going to love it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to Tech Path. Let's get into it today. Really on top of the show here is I want to get into a report that was recently published by Non-Fungible. And they shared it with us. They said, hey, yeah, we reached out to them, so we want to take a look at it. And there's a few things in it that I think are interesting and can help you guys in terms of maybe understanding of whether or not you want to get into the NFT space. I think if you're already watching our show, you're probably pretty deep into the metaverse, all that good stuff. But let's talk about it and get into it. They collected this through, obviously, the big NFT platforms out there. So you had Immutable X, Ethereum, Ronin, Flow, all in there, etc. There are a few things that happen, and I want to show you and this, of course, is the previous year roll-up and how this may have a lot of impact here on the market going forward. But this is back last February. I won't get into too many things that happened. Other than Logan Paul, I mean, remember, Logan Paul did 3.5 million in NFTs in one day. I think today he would probably do 10x of that with what was happening. Obviously, we know CryptoPunks hit its first 600 ETH right there. That, of course, was back in January last year. And really kind of just an overall, not a bad year, I think, but at the same time, a lot of companies were just really getting into it. And I think that's one of the things that really kind of lays out the groundwork for what we could see in 2022, really developing. We've already seen a pretty good first quarter. I think the option here is as we see NFTs and also crypto gaming, the aspect of smart contract usage in crypto gaming is going to be huge, and I think really is going to kind of tie in where this sector is all leaning into in terms of price, how you should invest in this. And I think this is the big question that a lot of people ask me. Is it better to invest in tokens, my top 20 tokens, or should I just hold Bitcoin and ETH? Or should I look at something like NFTs where we're really taking a look at a much more risk? Now, what I would say, first of all, not financial advice. When we do these shows for you, the idea behind this is research. It's what we call market movers. We're going to give you some data here too. But the main thing is to hopefully get you guys going in the right direction. But I want to jump back over here to this report because there's some very cool aspects. August, things started heating up. Obviously, we know $13 million round on Mintable. So Rare did 168 million, which is huge. This is the soccer program. Yuga Guild did almost 5 million. Dapper, a 250 million round. Lots happening there. Some key events. Coke jumps in. You had Super Rare launching on the Rare token. And then even a movie with Anthony Hopkins kind of flowing into the space. So lots of key elements that really kind of push the needle forward. And when you look at the overall performance of 2019 compared to what we're seeing potentially in 2022, but just look at the 2020 versus 2021. I mean, that is insane to see that kind of growth in 17 billion in revenue versus the 82 million in the previous year, all of 2020. So the ramp up in terms of growth is real. The question, and I think a lot of people have this, and there's been many people kind of commenting about this, is that could we be looking at a big meltdown on where the market is potentially going out there? Here were some of the key facts and figures on crypto art, we'll call it, in 2021. Volume at 2 billion right there, and you had a number of sales almost closing in on 1 million in total of number of sales. Assets and profitability, average price 3,200. Total profit, look at this right here. This was pretty impressive to me. The 78.76 of sales were at profit, so not bad for 1.2 billion versus 153 million in losses. And then you've got the community holding period. This was what I thought was very interesting. A lot of flippers in the market, and then active wallets at 148,000 versus number of owners at 212, and then total number of artists 3,500. This is probably going to balloon, I think, to somewhere around 20,000 this year in what we'll see out there in the marketplace. New assets created 500,000, 86% of all assets stock that circulated in 2021. Total number of assets identified 1.6 mil. And I think, again, like I said, lots and lots happening here. The big ones, of course, Everybody knows the success of Art Block, Super Rare, Doodle, Christie's, of course, we know, Foundation, Sotheby's, Punks Comics, Nifty, Gateway, and then you kind of get into some of the others. And we're going to showcase a few of these today and get into some more of this because I think there's a lot of key points here. One of the things, and I'm kind of flying through this report for you guys because there was a lot of stuff that we reviewed. Assets increased in value once on the secondary market. The art market has been overwhelmed with new low-value assets being produced by artists looking to break into the market. This is the concern that I have, is that as we start to see the volume of assets really picking up, we may not necessarily see the quality of assets. That's going to bring the averages down across a lot of the profitability of these, and it's definitely going to raise the overall transaction side of this. The people that win on this, guys like OpenSea, the exchanges, all the different gas formats that really are just churning volume. And I think that's the bad problem that could occur in 2022. Now, could it slow down if we see, a little bit of consolidation, which we've heard here recently? We'll talk about that on a second. I think that is definitely a possibility. I wanted to look at the collectible side of things as well. This is $8 billion in overall volume last year, $4 million in sales there, and of course, average price around $1,800. So again, more profitability right here at 76% right here. And then I want to show the last slide here they had in the report. This kind of just goes into some of it right here on assets and profitability. This is in the gaming side of things. So average price $207, $247 million, 73% in sales at profit. And then I'm going to go down here and look at the ranking because this is another one. I want to kind of just jump to that last slide that really shows out all of the performance. So you have the comparative by segment right here, and this is art, obviously collectibles, gaming, metaverse. You guys can kind of take a look here, but total volume, number of sales. The big one, of course, collectibles, 4.5 million, 20 million in the gaming side. Obviously that comes because of the digital asset component. Everything's an NFT. Metaverse, 133,000, pretty light right now, but still growing. And then utilities, but profitability-wise, right now, Metaverse holds out number one right there at 88%. That's going to mostly be lands. Then you get into 79% over here on the art side of things. That's the CryptoPunks of the world. Collectibles, 76, and then gaming, 73, and utilities, 74, which I continue to see utility as a big factor, I think, in the growth of how all of this is going to play out in the space. So this is a good report. We'll leave a link in it in the description for you guys to take a look. Make sure and drop some questions in the chat. We'll try to get to some of those. A lot's happening in the space. We will be having a Bitcoin and Ethereum update. There's a lot of things going on with that. Obviously, the Fed just had their meeting today. No real big news out of that was that we weren't anticipating the 50 basis point because everything that's going on. We did anticipate that this was going to be a little bit slower and softening into what that might look like. And that's going to affect the NFT market I think in more ways than one, as we continue to see a little bit of pressure come onto the economy through inflation and a variety of economic concerns. NFT monopolies. This is something that I think we do now have to kind of concern ourselves with. Bored Apes and CryptoPunks, of course, we just reported on this today over on Metaverse Insider. And the idea here, I think overall, I think this is a good thing for the market because it does create, kind of that apex predator, so to speak, in the space. Everybody's looking out for that particular one project. And I think with Bored Apes and CryptoPunks coming under one house, this only creates more awareness because there's going to be a lot of people now focusing in on that, especially from structured capital and where that might go in the future. And they had a couple of things in here that were kind of interesting. Friday evening, Yuga Labs, let me just highlight this for you. Yuga Labs, company behind Bored Apes, announced it acquired the brand's copyright and the art of the IP rights for 2 NFT projects. It includes Larva Labs, CryptoPunks, the pixelated mugshots, and then, of course, elevated NFTs, all in that space. Also, within that, they had the Meebits as well. One level of the acquisition makes sense. Larva Labs has always been just 2 guys, John and Matt. They created the punks, of course. And then you have just kind of the escalation of here's what this reminds me of, is it kind of reminds me of Google in 2000, 4, 5. You had essentially Sergey and his partner, and I think that's kind of what's happening now. We could be seeing a centralization of where NFTs are flowing, and this could be everything from exchanges, creativity, and a lot of stifling of creativity as well, because the harder things get for independent creators, because maybe they have to be into agencies, or they have to get in through some sort of licensing deals, or be able to just get a little bit of open air, it starts to create a little bit of a challenge if you don't have a really top-notch marketing team to kind of get you guys out there. So I think this is a good one to keep your eyes on, because this can turn the NFT market on its side if we don't see continued innovation. And this is something I warn in technology about all the time, is that if you get someone that is too far ahead and too far out there, it starts to stifle innovation. In social media, it happened with Facebook and Twitter. They pretty much shut down all of the real good contenders that were in the early days of social. Either they acquired them or just copied them and then made them better. That's the concern I have with these kinds of moves in the NFT space, is we could see a lot of copying, which is kind of rampant already out there in the space itself. NFT sales plunges to $63 million over the past week. Has the bubble burst? This was a story, and I think this is my point, is that we're continuing to see this movement, but at the same time, with a lot of the pressures that we've got within the economic front, could we be seeing a little bit of a slowdown here? Now, I do not think that good NFT projects are just going to fall flat, just like gaming projects and Metaverse projects. What I do believe, though, is it will separate the winners from the losers. The losers will not get a chance to be at that table any longer. I think as we see more tightening of both economy, pressure on the traditional crypto markets, these kind of things will play into it, and I think that's okay. That's the strongest survives, which is what we want. In reality, artists, investors, and entrepreneurs are flocking to the embryonic Web3 area. Total NFT sales volume, again, surpassing 23 billion in the last year, as we report. So big, cool things happening for sure. Zuckerberg, though, says, wait a minute, that's not the way it's going to go, boys. This is what we're going to do. Now they are bringing NFTs to Instagram in the near term. So how quickly will we see NFT integration into Instagram? It's interesting that they announced this at South by Southwest. That's where Instagram was launched. Instagram has NFTs on the way. Speaker series at the Austin, South by, basically saying, "Yep, this is the plan." Now, is this kind of a Johnny-come-lately? Obviously, Twitter has already integrated smart contract NFT uses within their profile. I imagine Twitter and can view Twitter probably getting even more, I think, dense within NFT and smart contract use in a lot of different ways within social media, maybe going into the aspect of even doing profile validation. So there's a lot already there. The art aspect, though, is something that Twitter doesn't have, and that's where Instagram steps in. The visual entertainment, I think that will be a big factor. The other aspect of this is going to be video, and to a certain extent, a lot of other creators that potentially could really tie in to a new marketplace inside of Instagram. So I have a feeling that their long-term function here, again, this is a meta move, and what I mean by meta move, just coming from Meta, the company, that I think will continue to move in the right direction. So don't sleep on this. I keep telling you guys, this is one of these companies that has so much in the way of money, developers, partnerships, and users that is very difficult to overcome. Now, granted, it doesn't mean they're going to win hands down, because there's still a lot of innovators coming out there to the market that I think can bring it to the table, but it's going to be interesting. You also have Coinbase jumping into the NFT marketplace to launch very soon, so this is not something that I think we're going to see resting. All the exchanges will have it. FTX, of course, is already in the place, and I think we're going to continue to see this as we continue to see more and more of just the in general industry kind of flocking to smart contracts and how NFTs will really be used. I want to get into the top 30 projects, because we have a cool new feature on the PBN CPI for you guys to take a look at today. Before we do that, I want to thank our sponsor, SoulChicks. If you guys are looking at, and we have a lot of new games that we show here on the show. SoulChicks, of course, is the Solana game that was known for crashing Solana. But the point is that these guys have matured. Obviously, when you look at the size of this particular project right now, 700,000 members in their Discord. They do have now multiple games available. They're doing these mystery egg drops as well. Make sure and check them. You can get them over on Radium. You can also get them on Gate.io if you're not in the United States anymore. And of course, you can also do SolChick staking as well. So they got a lot going on. Check out their team, a little bit about that. I think we'll see more games like SolChicks in the future really do well as the market continues to grow. You look at, though, on the sense of what do we have to be concerned about in the NFT space? Kevin O'Leary kind of outlines it right here. It's pretty straightforward. There's going to be a lot of money coming into the space, billions, in fact, of institutional dollars should hit the sector. His big concern is going to be three things. One, of course, is the regulatory aspect of this. He kind of outlines an interesting aspect here. Right here, I want to just kind of showcase what he's talking about. There's billions. This is the portion that is very interesting. For example, if you buy a stock or a bond in a pension plan for, say, a university in Geneva, they immediately are able to see the compliance department, how much you put on, whether you use leverage. Now, I think he's leaning into a company that he has invested in that will assist in this space of creating kind of that quasi-certification, so to speak, or the ability to give you at least a performance valuation, much like you get from your TD Ameritrade or your Schwab account or something old school investing. Now, if something like that does come available in the crypto space, it's going to be a hit because you've got a lot of mainstream investors that have been doing that for years. They understand how those statements work. Right now, if you're in crypto, it's a little bit, even for the crypto savvy, it's a little bit difficult to keep track of where your performances are, how you're doing in all the multiple exchanges, how you're doing in all these multiple projects, because you have so many different disparate areas of where assets are being held, whether it's a MetaMask wallet, a Phantom wallet over here on Solana, or maybe you've got a wallet over here on Coinbase. All of those play into that. And then you have the array of DEXs, then you've got your bot trading platform. You can kind of get the point. There's a lot happening in the space. Even if you're just thinking about doing taxes right now, imagine that. We're dealing with this even with our own team of just so many different areas that you've got to be able to track. So I think Kevin is right in that sense of what we'll need to go with for sure to be able to kind of move to the next level. He's also concerned about the amount of scamming. This is the other thing that he kind of really hits on. But listen, I think this is something that is and has been the case in all new technology. It happened in mobile. It happened in the birth of the internet. It happened in the birth of social. There's no way you're going to get around it. And probably one thing that amplifies it even more so here is it's happening around things that involve money and value. So I think he's definitely going to be right in most of that. We've got American Express filing for trademarks now in the metaverse for NFT logos. Listen, you can see the writing on the wall, guys. This is coming, and it's already at warp speed. The good thing is that if you're watching our show, you're way ahead of the 8 ball. You are in a position right now, I think, to really kind of set yourself up for some pretty amazing gains. If you're looking at mid to long term, and I say mid to long term, meaning 3 to 5 years, and then maybe a 7 to 10 year play on all your crypto and digital assets. That's something that I'm doing on an ongoing basis. You have all these companies jumping into this, including DraftKings now linking to NFTs, to betting products. This is going to be big for, I think, the gambling boys. I think this is, and this may be the thing. What was it that made the internet? It was porn. What will it be that makes Web3? Could it be gambling because of it's so, tied in to what we've seen around the aspect of NFT use cases? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting format to say. I still think gaming will be the genesis of how crypto, NFTs, and digital assets will be managed in the future, for sure. Let's go. I want to get over to a couple of things. There is a Solana NFT marketplace, Magic Eden. They're looking to challenge OpenSea. This is another thing. I want to kind of hear from you guys on what platforms do you see really kind of performing well for you? Because I think that's going to be something in the future that really kind of helps you understand one, where to go if you're investing, and two, maybe you're creating a project out there. Where do you go to deploy or mint a project? I know we got a poll on this one, so let's bring that up real quick. All right, this is on the Instagram side. Will it be a catalyst for mainstream adoption? Yes, Instagram user base is massive for sure. Gaming, still fighting in there. We'll bring in the masses. Social media is a big one, guys. Social media. TikTok would be the other player. Twitter is already kind of leaning in on it, but they don't have the allure from a visual standpoint that Instagram and TikTok do. So I think it really is going to boil down to Instagram, TikTok as the players for making this thing happen. One thing we do have going that is new over on the CPI, I wanted to show you guys just a quick view of this. We now have our top NFT projects over on the CPI. If you haven't jumped into it, it's a very inexpensive tool. We publish content all week long. This is our new NFT sheet that essentially gives you the ability to rank the top 30. Right now, we're probably going to move into the top 100. But let me zoom out on that just a little bit so we can kind of show you a little bit. But if you look at volume rank right now, so we're ranked on volume. You can take a look at the sales over the last 7 days. Right there, of course, that's the Ethereum name service being number 1, Art Blocks being number 2, Sandbox being number 3. If you look at the all-time sales right there, you've got Bored Ape, of course, coming in number 1, Crypto, Art Blocks, and Sandbox. Then Meebits coming in there. Doodles, Cybercon, Cool Cats. Then you have sales all-time. We won't go there, but I want to look at the sentiment. This is our own CPI data that we've added to this. So our number 1 ranking is still coming in at Bored Apes, but VFriends comes in at number 2 with one of the least amount of sales right here at 77. So again, I think this goes back to Gary Vee and his ability to market just in terms of generating awareness. But if you look at his AMP score, not bad either. So this could be getting ready to move up in value. I'm really watching VFriends. Meebits right there behind them at 7603. Then you go into Doodles, Cool Cats, Cyberconks, and look at the difference in volume rank here. Only number 1 and number 4 and number 5 are out of the top 10 right there. So it's a real shuffle of projects based on overall sentiment. If you look by amplification, you've got VFriends coming in at number 1, Meebits coming in as number 2, and then CryptoPunks at number 3. So this is something that is a tool that I think it's going to help us guide a little bit further. We really, like I said, we go through the top 30 projects. We have over 400 NFT projects indexed right now, but that's coming in and we're building on that weekly. So this could be, upwards of 1,500 projects within the next 30 days. Obviously, we won't publish 1,500 because some of those are just going to be so low on the ranking. Because as I said, there's so many projects out there that just don't get the light of day, but they are being calculated in those more incremental type of things. So if you look at, I think it was the sales numbers right here. Again, Ethereum, let's skip that. But you've got even Art Blocks, only 1,600 in the past 7. But if you go down into some of these other projects, all the way down in here to Somnium Space at only 8 assets sold in the last 7 days, and that's a pretty big project too. I mean, you're talking about some fairly heavy volume over there versus all time. So, and again, all time volume obviously is going to be Bored Apes and CryptoPunks. So anyway, I want to get to some questions today. I know you guys have a lot of ideas of where NFTs will go and how all this could play in the space of traditional crypto. Alex, let's get to you. The gas is a big hurdle. People don't want to pay. Essentially, I think that's a big one. NFT avatar onto a chain when they already have created it. I would agree. Listen, gas is going to be something that is just going to be an evolution of what's going to happen. Interestingly enough, though, we've continued to see gas go down in price. So interesting that regular gas is going up, digital gas going down. Bill Go. I'll bet Instagram is going to use Cardano. Whew, man, why would you say that? Please comment again on that. I'm very curious of your thinking behind that one. I don't know. That would be an interesting chain to use. I would be betting more toward Polygon on that. But hey, maybe we'll have a little side bet in the for an NFT in the chat. Joe Pro, Axie Infinity has the biggest NFT trading volume. It doesn't show here. I would agree. They're not on this list, but they're no, they're not in the list of what we've indexed so far for gaming assets. But again, these are traditional NFT projects that are flipping out. So I don't know. Maybe we should just manually put that one in there and take a look for sure. I like that. Producer Third Son, which such advanced graphics in the gaming space? Why are most Metaverse projects surfacing with graphics from the 90s? And okay, so we've talked about this on our show a couple of times, is that there is a big crush for digital artists right now because of not only traditional AAA gaming studios, but also just the creative side of what's happening in blockchain. So digital artists are harder and harder to find. So I think you are kind of getting second and third layer right now. So that's probably going to answer your question there. Bob Hayes, random pictures won't last long. It has to have an ecosystem. I would agree, Bob. I think the ecosystem is going to be the key thing here, and or utility. If a utility aspect comes into this, all bets are off. But if it's just a picture and it's an art piece, eventually that's going to run out of juice, and I think we will see a lot more fall off in that space. I'm 100% behind, here we go, Jeff. I'm 100% behind crypto, 100% behind the metaverse. I have zero interest in NFTs. Just sold the purpose of anything outside collectibles. And you know, that's interesting because we will see, there seems to be a little bit of a divided camp here for NFTs. Some people really leaning into NFTs, making ridiculous volume, and some people, you know, in your case. So we understand that. That's cool. Let's get to another poll here, and then I think we'll get wrapped up here. All right, so what are your NFTs becoming mainstream? 24. Ooh, way out there. 36. And wow, over 5 years, 32% of you. So over 66% are saying really outside the window of the next 2 years. Just because of the use case, the ability to do some things with utility, which I think will be a big factor in the future. All right, we love to get your feedback. The best place to do that is right here on the YouTube show. You can, of course, catch us as well in an audio podcast. If you're listening over there, make sure and jump in here to the YouTube show. Like a video, and of course, subscribe to the channel to get updates on when we're doing things live, all that good stuff. We are doing a giveaway of one of the games later this week. We have a big game coming out that we're going to do a review on Friday, and it's going to have some NFT giveaways for you. So if you want to tune in, most likely it's going to be our 3 o'clock live stream where we'll do that. Make sure and hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions or have some ideas. You can catch me at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.